Go. How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether price is going up or down. So we will jump over to the Dixie for the daily. We did see quite a bit of a move down overall today for the rest of the crypto market. We did also see Dixie drop as well. So Dixie didn't really drop too much, but crypto was pretty much a bloodbath depending on which coins you're holding. File was pretty bad today. Our stochastic, our double line, does want to round away. That does mean that RSI can continue to sell off. Momentum does want to round. That VWAP does have lower highs. That is that yellow wave. So as that yellow wave gets those lower highs, we can start to get a bearish trend if we follow it with lower lows, which will cause that blue wave, our momentum, to round away and cause our money flow, which is currently green, to fall into the red if that's prolonged. So we do have a rejection to the top. We did get this bear flag breakdown, so we will delete that. This is a long upper shadow candle as well. So over for Dixie, I would suggest we could drop down to our 300 EMA if we're not careful and start to reject lower. Our stochastic does want to round away. RSI is pulling back, momentum's rounding, and the VWAP is weakening. So again, the daily is not too strong. Over on the 4-hour here, our RSI is overall starting to push away as that stochastic starts to favor bearish. If that stochastic continues to favor bearish, RSI will continue to weaken and bring price action lower. We have a manipulation X with an EMA cross to the downside. So several bearish indicators here that suggest we could start to sell off. Our VWAP does have consistent lows with lower highs. Money flow is starting to round away as that VWAP favors bearish and weakens the momentum. So overall, the momentum is more bearish and we are starting to see a sell-off as a result. Over on the 2-hour here, we do have a little bit of a consolidation after a breakdown. Remember, that does create a bear flag. We could draw that with the parallel channel. This wouldn't be a really confirmed flag because we only have a few candles and they are more indecisive than anything, but we could end up dropping to around 104, 105 if we are not able to hold this range and push forward with support. This is a previous consolidation range, so if we can continue to consolidate like we did back here, we could see a reversal move in response to our quick move upward. RSI is pulling back, momentum does have consistent lows. That VWAP, or yellow wave, does look like it does want to round away, so if it rejects this zero, momentum will remain bearish, and money flow, that green wave, will start to weaken, and we will start to see a bit of a sell-off if we don't gain strength. And remember, they are inversely related, crypto and Dixie, so that could help push crypto forward. Over here on the 1-hour, we could broaden our channel a little bit, so we could include all this movement here, and then move this here. That would give us about the same breakdown. We might get a little bit further down just because it's a little wider of a channel. That would push us down to around the 104.9, so not very much further. But stochastic and RSI are pretty flat. If that stochastic starts to round away, we will see RSI start to weaken and bring price action lower. Again, this flag isn't confirmed, so we could hit this EMA, make a bounce and run forward. Keep an eye on it. Momentum is pushing down, that VWAP is struggling, that yellow wave. So as that yellow wave struggles to gain bullish momentum, we will see momentum continue to pull back and money flow will continue to favor bearish. And as that money is flowing out, we will see those higher time frames start to weaken since money flow has been red for some time. Over on the total for the daily, we did try to wick down away from our pattern. We did bounce off that 250 EMA. So we did see a bit of a push down despite the bullish pattern possibility. Again, that pattern wasn't very confirmed. We didn't have very many touches to the bottom yet, so it wasn't very solid. But we did make a bounce that could be positive, providing the lower time frames can gain bullish momentum. This could end up being a long lower shadow candle, which could show the bears are running out of steam. We did see a quick drop down. Remember, a quick drop down usually is retraced by a pump forward, and a quick pump forward usually is retraced by a drop down. Just look at Dixie. RSI does want to pull back, stochastic is rounding away. The VWAP does want to reject that neutral, making a lower high, If we pull back for consistent lows, I would exercise caution because then we could see our altcoins sell off, as total is a representation of the market cap of all the altcoins besides Ethereum. Momentum is pushing down. We do have that red dot. VWAP is rejecting, so overall the daily is not strong. Over on the 4-hour here, that VWAP does want to run forward. We want to see strong bullish strength to continue from here. We want higher highs followed by higher lows above that neutral. If we can get that, momentum could continue forward. That double green dot could help press us up. VWAP is trying to run bullish, but again, watch for a bullish trend on that VWAP. Right now, this break is kind of weak, and it could easily be retraced. If we do see that retrace, we likely would see price action retrace as well. Over here on the 2-hour, stochastic is trying to run up. RSI is likely going to follow. VWAP did try to break bearish. It was indecisive for quite some time while we consolidated downwards. That VWAP does want to run up. This could be a bear flag channel. So we do have consistent highs and lows, or at least pretty consistent. So if we continue to bounce around in this range, that could create that bear flag possibility. That bear flag possibility potentially would push us right around this 536 area. So remember, that is getting very close to the lows from the previous bull market. And if we break that, we could continue lower. Over on the 1-hour, we do want to push forward. We do have several touches here, so the pattern is a little stronger here on the 1-hour. VWAP is gaining bullish momentum. Momentum is trying to push forward. We do have bullish divergence that wants to push us up, but just exercise caution. If we don't hold above these EMAs, we likely would round away, get a third touch to the bottom, and potentially break down. Stochastic does want to round. RSI is pulling back. VWAP is starting to pull back. So watch if that VWAP can get higher highs with higher lows. If we can do that, staying above that 0, then momentum could continue forward and money flow could gain some strength. Over on Bitcoin for the daily, this is Bitcoin dominance for the daily. We will zoom out so we get our fixed range volume profile. We did try to run through the value area high, but now we have a long upper shadow candle. Remember, a long upper shadow candle does show that the bulls tried to run us up and the bears stepped in to gain control, so I would exercise caution. If this is followed by a strong red candle, we're likely going to continue lower. Stochastic is pushing down, RSI is rounding away, momentum is dropping. VWAP does look like it wants to break bullish, but we do have a lower low, so watch for a lower high. If we follow this lower low with a lower high, we will have that bearish trend that will weaken momentum and make money flow sell off, resulting in dominance slipping. Over on Bitcoin futures for the daily, this is more important in my opinion. We are trying to trend downward overall. We are starting to break down away from our flag possibility. This is on our second touch to the bottom, so I would watch very close. If we can make it bounce around our 61K area, that could be positive. That would be about a third of our move, about half the move. If we can drop down to that range, that would be positive. If we can bounce and continue forward, because we could make a higher low then. However, if we break that 61.7 and then push down to our 56K, I would exercise caution because we could create some sort of crazy double top. We could draw that out where you get this rise up and then, oops, that's not the pattern. I can't get what we want. We want the path tool. There we go. So you get a rise up, a drop down, a rise up, a drop down, and that would, this drop down would be a little lower, and that would break you lower. So your neckline would be connecting these two drops and then measuring from your head to your neck, and then apply that from your neck down. That would make us break down toward 30K. So if we do see this double top happen, we could see a 30K Bitcoin again. So exercise caution. There could be more losses to come. So if you're in profits and you want to take some profit before seeing that loss, it's a good idea. However, remember, we don't have to drop that far down. Momentum is pushing down. VWAP is in the bearish territory. Stochastic is favoring bearish, and RSI is weakening. So again, watch if we can't hold these levels here, then we may see that double top breakdown that could break us even lower. So over on the 4-hour, We are overall trending down. This may be a descending channel. Remember, a descending channel could be a bullish pattern. These lows and highs really don't connect, so I would exercise caution. That's more of a bearish continuation channel. Remember, that's where you see continued sell-off with lower highs and lower lows. Stochastic is pulling back, RSI is starting to weaken, that VWAP is in the bearish territory, momentum is pushing down, and the money flow is starting to break. We do have a gap to the downside here, so I would exercise caution. We could end up retracing a little bit, and then if we can bounce at that 67.5 area, then we may be able to continue forward. However, we did reject that 65.5, and we did break our 300 EMA, and we are continuing lower ever since. So I would exercise caution. We do have a breakout. We did retouch our pattern. We are trying to come back up here again. So if we reject at this point, we will have that retest. So if you're a shorter, this may be your opportunity to jump into a short and see us ride downwards. So over on the 2 hour, RSI does want to run up. Stochastic does want to push forward. Momentum is pushing up, and money flow does want to gain a little bit of strength, but that VWAP looks a little iffy. We do have higher highs with higher lows. Excuse me, but I'm pretty much just finished. We do have those higher highs with higher lows, so if we can continue the higher highs with higher lows, we will see momentum push up, and money flow could gain strength. However, if that VWAP rejects here, we could see a new bearish trend. That new bearish trend then could make us trend lower, so I would exercise caution on that. But we do look like we may gain some strength here if we can solidify a bounce after filling our gap. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic is trying to push forward. VWAP wants to run up, momentum is gaining strength, and the money flow is bearish, so I would exercise caution. The VWAP does have higher highs with higher lows, so that is bullish. If that can continue, momentum can gain strength, and money flow could start to flip, and would then help push us forward. However, if we see that VWAP fall back into the bearish territory, it's likely momentum would reject, money flow would remain bearish, and we would overall sell off, seeing those lower price targets. So over on Bitcoin for the daily, we did reject that double bottom possibility. Remember, we said to watch, we can actually revive that. If you look on the 1 hour, right around this candle, we did mention to watch for a bounce forward over the next couple hours. If we did not get a strong bounce forward, we likely would reject, and that is what we wound up seeing. So we will delete this pattern because it got invalidated. So hopefully you watched what we said to. Overall, we do have a retest of our flag, and we did get a rejection today, pushing us lower. So we do have that continuation of bearish momentum. Overall, that could push us lower, and that would invalidate our 80K possibility here. So again, watch out for futures. We do have that 30K possibility. If we cannot bounce at that 63K, then it's likely we could push down to the 57. And just like futures, I bet if we zoom out, you could get some sort of crazy double top here that could break you lower. So you have this rise up, then a drop, a rise up, and then a drop. Actually, we would want that drop a little lower, but that drop could break you down. So we will draw our neckline since I kind of screwed that up. That neckline would be that 51K actually. So we would draw from the head to that 51K support level. And I don't know why we're getting a typing cursor, but there we go. Now we can extrapolate that lower, and that would make us break all the way down to around 31K. And if we do hit that range, that is our golden pocket, and we could see a manipulative move down even lower. Remember, we do have around that 15K range on futures that never filled, and gaps do have that 80% possibility. So if we do break these support levels, we could end up seeing quite a bit of a sell-off. Oops, I did not mean to go to graph. I meant to go to the 4 hour here. So we will look for bearish patterns, but right now we do have that bearish continuation here as well, just like we do on futures, which means we have those lower highs with lower lows that aren't really well connected. We have the rejection of our 300 EMA. So overall, the bears are gaining control. If we can't bounce off the 63K and run forward, then it's likely we could see those lower price targets. VWAP is starting to favor a little bearish. We are trying to push up, but I would exercise caution. If we get another lower high, we could see continued bearish favor, which would bring momentum lower, break that money flow even lower, and start to weaken the 4 hour and the daily, which would cause a pretty strong sell-off. Over on the 2-hour, RSI is overall pulling back, stochastic is dropping away, momentum is dropping down, that VWAP does want to run up, and money flow is trying to gain strength. So again, if we can solidify a bounce here, that may prevent us from seeing that 30k target. Stochastic does want to round away here on the 1-hour, RSI is starting to pull back, that VWAP does want to round, our momentum is running up, and money flow is pulling back. So overall, I would exercise caution on the 1-hour. If that VWAP does end up breaking through our neutral, then we get lower lows with lower highs, we will see a sell-off. However, if our VWAP can sustain a bullish trend, we could see a continued push forward. So ideally, you would see that VWAP remain bullish. If we start seeing the VWAP remain bullish over the next several hours, then that would give us the likelihood to push forward and get bullish possibilities that would try to invalidate that double top possibility. Over on graph for the daily, we do still have our channel that could try to push us up, but with the way total looks, I would exercise caution because that may make us break that 16,316 and possibly even break lower. If we do break that level, we do have support ranges. We can use our horizontal line. We have one right around here that has a lot of support and resistance that is around that 14,316. Then we have another one, let's say right around here, that is around 11,057. And we have another major one right around there at 7,716. So quite the drop we could make there. Likely, if we do see total drop down very violently, we would see altcoins do the same because it's the market cap of altcoins. Stochastic is pulling back here on the daily. RSI is selling off, momentum is in the bearish territory, and the money flow is starting to reject. Over on the 4-hour, we are trying to bounce forward. Sorry, I was trying to see if my son was coming home yet. We are trying to bounce forward, so this could be positive. Momentum is pushing down. VWAP is trying to break back into the bullish territory. We do have higher highs with higher lows. If this can sustain, momentum could push forward, and that would give money flow strength, helping us run to the top of our pattern. But again, that would be dependent on if total can gain some strength as well. Over on the 2-hour here, stochastic is trying to run forward, RSI is pushing up, momentum is gaining strength, money flow does want to push forward, and the VWAP is bullish. We do have slightly higher highs with higher lows, so we are trying to see a bullish trend here. If that bullish trend can continue, momentum could continue up, and that money flow could gain strength. That would then help push us forward and give the higher time frame strength as well. Over on the 1-hour, stochastic does want to round away. RSI is starting to curl, so I would watch if that stochastic breaks. If it does, RSI likely would follow. The VWAP is starting to round away. Momentum does want to push up, so if that VWAP can stay above our neutral, getting higher highs with higher lows, that momentum could break bullish, which would help push that money flow further up over a couple candles, and then that could start to give those higher time frames strength. However, if that VWAP breaks down, we will see momentum reject and money flow would remain bearish, weakening those higher time frames instead. Over on Ankr for the daily, we'll want to zoom in a little bit more. So we did pretty much break every support we drew yesterday, so we're going to have to zoom out and draw a couple more here with the horizontal line. We do have the one we just stuck on right there at the 2673. We do have another one right around here at 2338. And then we do have another one right in here right around 2020. So hopefully we don't revisit 2020. That was an awful year, but we could end up breaking down. Stochastic and RSI are pushing down. VWAP is in a bearish trend. We do have lower lows with lower highs. We are starting to reject that neutral. If that continues, we will see the bears continue to gain strength and push us lower. Momentum is weakening due to the VWAP and money flow weakening as well. So overall, the daily is not very positive. Everything is starting to look more oversold and starting to break down. Over on the RSI, or over on the 4-hour, the RSI is pushing up. Stochastic is pushing forward. VWAP does want to break bullish. Momentum is pushing up, and the money flow is attempting to gain strength. That VWAP, if we zoom in, does have slightly higher highs with higher lows, so we have a very weak bullish trend. If that bullish trend can gain some strength, we will see momentum push forward and money flow could gain strength. That would be dependent on the lower time frames. They would need to maintain bullish momentum in order for that to happen. Our momentum on the 2-hour is starting to push forward. We'll want to zoom out here. Stochastic is running up. RSI is gaining strength. VWAP is trying to remain bullish, so we will need that VWAP to continue to bounce off the neutral and gain some stronger waves to the bullish side, more like back here. If we start seeing some waves like this toward the bullish territory, we would push forward, momentum would gain strength, and that red wave, our money flow, would push forward. That would help us push back to our 30. However, if we see that VWAP break down, that's where we could start to revisit all those areas, including 2020. So over on the 1 hour, we are attempting to make it bounce. We could have a double bottom here, but I don't like how it looks, so I'm not going to call it that. VWAP does want to round away. Stochastic we'll need to zoom out for. It is starting to round away as well. RSI is pushing forward, so if that blue line and orange line, our stochastic, can continue to favor bullish, our red line, our RSI, will continue further. That yellow wave, our VWAP, is trying to remain more bullish above that zero, which could push the momentum, our blue wave, further up. If that momentum continues to gain strength, then that money flow could go from being red into the green above that zero, and then we could see a bullish trend. However, if that VWAP breaks down, momentum will start to reject and money flow could sell off. Right now, we do look promising for that VWAP to continue a bullish trend, but we want higher highs with higher lows. If we can sustain above that zero, momentum will push up and money flow would gain strength. So over on XRP for the daily, we did push up to that value area low the other day, and now we are rejecting. We did warn we could end up rejecting to around the 45, 44. We did stop shy at 47. Stochastic does want to round away. RSI is starting to head down. VWAP is rounding away, and momentum is starting to curl. So watch that VWAP close. If that VWAP breaks down, momentum would reject, and money flow would continue to sell off, weakening price action, and then we could revisit the 45. And again, if we don't meet support there, we could push to our 35 area. Over on the 4 hour, we did get that rejection of the 300 EMA. So again, that's why that EMA is very important. We are trying to make a rounding bottom after getting a manipulation X with a long lower shadow candle, which is where that wick is twice as big as your body. So this could be positive if we can continue to push up. Ideally, we would see a green candle that engulfs this red candle back here. That could create a strong rounding bottom. That strong rounding bottom could then push us forward. VWAP does want to push up, but overall right now we do have lower lows. If we reject for consistent or lower highs, we could remain in a bearish trend that would push momentum lower, and that money flow would weaken. So watch the lower time frames. If they break more bearish, we're likely going to push lower. Over on the 2 hour, we are getting lower highs with slightly lower lows, so we do have a bearish continuation trend there. That bearish continuation trend could break us lower. VWAP does want to push up. Momentum is trying to gain strength. Money flow is trying to run up, and the RSI is pushing forward, but the stochastic is favoring more bearish. So if that stochastic continues to favor bearish, RSI will start to weaken, and we will start to see price action respond negatively. Over on the 1 hour, we are pushing up toward our EMA band, so this is going to be a pivotal spot. If we can break above and hold, that will be positive, then we could gain bullish momentum. However, if we see a rejection here, we're going to continue lower, and we could revisit those lower price targets. So I would exercise caution. Our stochastic does want to round away. VWAP is starting to kind of taper off, so I would watch that VWAP close. If that VWAP ends up breaking down, momentum will start to round away, and money flow could break down. Then we would see that 44 and possibly our 35 areas. So finally, since no one's requested anything different for tonight, we have ALGO. We are invalidating our bearish channel our descending channel, that would want to break us up, and we traded it for a bearish continuation channel. This bearish continuation channel, if we're not lucky, could bring us down to our 1032. We could draw some other support levels here. No, we don't really have many, so a break of that 1032 would give us some new lows, so we don't really want to see that. And the way total is looking, that could be likely. So if you're in ALGO, I would exercise caution. RSI is starting to push down. Stochastic wants to push away. That VWAP is starting to favor more bearish, causing momentum to favor bearish and money flow to reject. So overall, the daily doesn't look positive, and we do need to break forward if we're not going to set new lows. VWAP does have higher highs with attempted higher lows, so we're trying to get a bullish trend, but we're not very convincing. That bullish trend isn't gaining strong momentum above that zero. Momentum does want to push up with a double green dot. RSI wants to push forward, and the stochastic is trying to bounce here. Over on the 2 hour, we are trying to push our resistance of our 1350. If we can break above and hold, that would be very positive, and we could try to trend toward our 1618. However, if we cannot reclaim that area, that's likely where we would see that low of our 10 cents and possibly revisit all-time lows. Stochastic does want to push up. RSI is trying to gain strength as a response, trying to push price action up. VWAP is trying to favor bullish. Momentum's gaining strength, and money flow is pushing up. So if that VWAP can continue forward, momentum would continue forward, and money flow can continue up, which would help strengthen our higher time frames. But don't get too excited. We're not quite in a bullish trend yet, so I would exercise caution yet. Our stochastic does want to round away here on the 1 hour. RSI is starting to follow. That VWAP does have higher highs with higher lows, so we have a slight bullish trend. If that bullish trend can continue, momentum would continue forward, and money flow can gain strength. However, if that VWAP ends up breaking down, we could see momentum reject and money flow would sell off. Watch the VWAP and momentum over the next several candles. If our VWAP can sustain bullish momentum, we could start to see momentum flip, and then if that holds for several candles, we will see money flow start to flip, which would strengthen the higher time frames. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night.